Yeah. When we all contribute our quota, little drops of water makes us greater. No matter how far we've gone, we can get better. Harnessing our wealth, one business at a time. The power is ours, no one else's, we recognize it. That's why we in this conference and exhibition to ignite change, think, make and grow Nigeria. That's our call to greatness, so come patriot. When we all contribute our quota, little drops of water makes us greater. No matter how far we've gone, we can get better. Harnessing our wealth, one business at a time. The power is ours, no one else's, we recognize it. That's why we in this conference and exhibition to ignite change, think, make and grow Nigeria. That's our call to greatness, to come patriot. Only we can make Nigeria great. No one else can change our nation's fate. When we're making Nigeria, we make Nigeria. Only we can make Nigeria great. No one else can change our nation's fate. When we're making Nigeria, we make Nigeria. Only we can make Nigeria great. No one else can change our nation's fate. When we're making Nigeria, we make Nigeria. Let a giant rise again. Let Nigeria stand up. Think, make and grow Nigeria. Hey, one business at a time, we change Nigeria. When you think you can make, you can grow. Make Nigeria great. Doesn't matter what you do, let's make Nigeria great. Only we can make Nigeria great. No one else can change our nation's fate. Making Nigeria, we make Nigeria.
Good evening. Welcome to day three of the Making Nigeria conference. It's been an amazing time we've had on this conference. And if you just checked in, thank you so much for staying through with us till now. Um, the conference has been themed building sustainable businesses, and we've had conversations. There's been a panel session, um, very interesting speakers lined up or already um, delivered their thoughts. We've had Philip Retain from USA and Julia Mopoke from South Africa. We've had Dave Hudson and of course, uh, yes, Florence Kayemba. Now, these people spoke about very interesting thoughts. I can't go through everything that they said in their keynote speeches, but you can follow us, check the handles on social media. If you want to watch, refresh, it makes sense to do that. And so today we started out this morning with a very dynamic session. We had a Professor Bibi Fakai, a seasoned administrator, and we also had Bishop Sevida Hosa, seasoned administrator and entrepreneur, someone who has also held legacy. And we also had Saikechi Mogu. These people gave us very, very interesting views as to how to function in the business ecosystem like Nigeria. It was a wonderful session. But this is, we are putting a cap on the conference now. And our keynote speaker for today is and happens to be also the convener of the meeting. And this means he has been at this for is Uche Onochie, a phenomenal person, a writer, author, and of course the speaker and the trainer. He's built several minds, built several businesses. Sorry for the technical glitch. We are back, and yes. So I was going to say before that break, going forward, we want to ensure that the conference doesn't just end in conversation. So we're hoping to go forward, uh, ensuring that we have forums where we can interact, where we can think, make, grow, and sell when it comes down to selling. So these forums are going to be happening every month. We also have a lot of value to give out. We have books, we have materials to share, we have a lot of professionals. Now, the Making Nigeria faculty is also growing as we speak, and these are people who have been with us through the journey over the decade and way back, and also other captains of industries and thought leaders that we hope to network and grow with. I've also joined the faculty. So it is um, a great experience we will have when we uh, continue beyond the conversation today, when we continue executing, interacting as businesses, and growing ourselves as businesses. But I would say a few more things about that after the Think Make Grow, after the conference rather. The Think Make Grow forum is something you should look out for. We'll put out ads and other directions as to what you should do to be part of this forum. Okay, so let's jump into it now. Today's conversation is it's one that is inspiring. I was in Lagos when the story about the Pace Bank Group broke, and a lot of Nigerians started asking questions. A lot of uh, politicians, business people, uh, captains of industry, many people ask questions. How did these young guys do it? What did they do? Da da da. And it started looking like, um, well, we can try, but I got to find out that that journey did not start that day. So if you're going to grow your business to the point where someone else will value it and put up a bid for it, then there are a few things you should know. So today's session, uh, we're going to be talking about building for business step. Hi, you can start.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you, Nia, for that introduction. Welcome everyone to day 3, the last session of Make in Nigeria 2021. It has been awesome here. Those of us from the back end, it's been awesome. We've been having fun, and a lot has been said, a lot has been released, and I just hope we can all just go and find time and sit down and go with this think make the TMG model, the think make grow, which some of it is what I want to talk about tonight, the think make grow model from Make in Nigeria. So I welcome you all. Today we are talking about building a business to sell. When I teach people, and we have this mentality, especially here in Nigeria and in Africa, where people just are more interested. They're more interested in leaving legacies. They say they want to leave legacies. They want to build. They want their name, Uche Onochie and Co, Uche Onochie and Sons. All these things are the things that all these things are things that we have seen, and everybody wants to build an empire. Partnerships is not working here, not working much. There are a lot of issues that we have in terms of partnership, a lot of issues that are stopping us from growing global businesses. And growing, I'm the one admitting now, I'm growing global businesses. So I think today I need to keep on hammering on the effect of building a business to sell. We need to see beyond ourselves. We need to see beyond our businesses surviving after us, after we've gone, we've left this planet. We must be able to see our businesses continue to thrive. And in Africa, Nigeria and Africa, we need a situation where we can have businesses that can attract foreign partnership and foreign investment. Even if it's not everybody that sells their business, it's not everybody that sells their business, but we're saying build your business as if you're going to sell it tomorrow. You never know. You might want to today you might want to leave that business for your kids, but tomorrow you can change your mind. Tomorrow you can change your mind and say, look, I want to sell. What if your kids are not interested in that business? For me, I have several businesses, and I would love for one of them, someone to approach me and say, hey, look, I want to buy in, I want to buy your company. Of course, I wouldn't mind that at all. Well, nobody says you need to build and you need to stay there until you die. The world has moved beyond that. The world has moved. We have moved to global partnership. We have moved to having businesses that you have. I think Facebook has his shares is, I'm not sure it's more than 2%, that he has, Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not sure he has more than 2%, and he's what he is. So you can imagine having that kind of a global company where your shares is not much, but look at the kind of impact they are making. Partnership, if not outright sale, partnership. You can imagine if someone offers me 200 million to buy into one of my companies, I'll be so glad. I'll go into semi-retirement, if not full retirement, and be in Bahamas and in the beach and sipping my juice. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it comes with hard work. There has to be hard work that you do in preparing this business for that. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about tonight. So just stay with me. I'm going to go on a journey, step by step, so that we understand how we can position our businesses in such a way that it will how we can position our businesses in such a way that we'll be able to sell at some point. Okay, Make in Nigeria has a model. We have a model. Our model for success for scaling businesses is the think, make, and grow. The think, make, and grow model. And this model is a process for building businesses, sustainable businesses. We have used this, we have gone through this, we have gone through this model over and over. We've taught it here at Make in Nigeria, and we know this model is a model, is a power model that is a process that you can use to building successful businesses. For one to have value as translates to equity, because we're talking about equity, there has to be equity. Equity basically is equity in business. Equity in business is the financial value placed on your business by a prospective buyer of your business. So that is what we talk when we talk about equity in business. What is the value? And today we're going to see how we can position ourselves, to increase the equity in our business so that we can be attractive for people to buy in. Employing this think, make, grow sets one on a pathway to building successful businesses. It is one that is built on working systems known to be solution providers, and only then can we have business worth buying. I'm going to talk about systems. I'll talk about building systems, workable systems that are providing solutions that are necessary, that are needed. Because for somebody to be able to say, I want to buy into your business, what we're talking about is that there has to be value that you're offering. So one may ask, why do people buy business? Why do people buy businesses? Why would they want to buy businesses? First of all, let's start from business ideas emerge every day. Let's start from the idea part, because think, make, grow model starts from the idea. SMEs is the backbone, which we know of major developed economies. as well as is also an important contributor to employment, economic, and export growth. Let's just take an example of South Africa. In South Africa, SMEs account for 91% of businesses. 60% of employment is attributed to SMEs, and is contributed to SMEs, and employment contributes 92% to the total GDP in South Africa. And in Nigeria, SMEs contribute to 48% of national GDP. I think it should be more, because if we see in South Africa, I think they contribute 52%. SMEs contribute 52% to their total domestic product. You know, and this is where you see how viable an economy is when you're looking at the GDP. You're looking at the cost of the services, the services and products that are produced in a nation at a particular time. And this, for us to contribute more to that GDP, you know, SMEs need to be encouraged. And it all starts with an idea. That's where we do this model, think, make, grow. Everything we talk about in Making Nigeria is how to help businesses through the phases of think, make, grow. Okay, so in Nigeria, SMEs contribute 48% to GDP, which accounts for 96% of businesses and 84% of employment. And look at our population. I think we can do better. So now it is important, and seriously, we need to be intentional about how to grow SMEs, grow startups, so that it can help the economy. There are all sorts of reasons why people will want to buy, mainly for the sake of profitability, you know, and return. But businesses are to be envied. Businesses that are to be envied are businesses that have positioned themselves for decades to come. Businesses that have been offering solutions for a long time. So businesses that have been there for a long time and they are offering solutions, they have a market. We can see the market. We can see what they are doing. We can see the impact. And these are the things that we need to hear today. How can we position ourselves to become that company that can attract foreign partnership? We make in Nigeria, we want to encourage startups. We want to encourage business enthusiasts to move from being a business enthusiast to become a startup, to try something and try it in this think, make and grow model that we're using. Businesses that are to be, people buy businesses for profit, investment, positioning, legacy, and many other reasons. You know, there has to be the why. The why of every business is the starting point of if that business is going to succeed or not. Every business determines what engagement it gets, considering legality, staying power, posterity, and global viability. In businesses these days, every business decision that you make, let me use this analogy to explain when I talk about businesses being prepared. It's just like when we entered school. I remember 5 years after coming out of school, I met some of my schoolmates, and we were wondering, as in, what stopped us from making first class? What is it that stopped us from making first class in school? And actually, there was nothing. It's just that we were more concerned. We were concentrating on other things that were less important than what our parents sent us to school to do. And what am I saying is that somebody that is going, when you start your business, the way you start your business, start it, having it in mind that one day is possible that you will sell. It's not when the business is doing well that you start thinking about, oh, okay, now this business is doing well. How can we now position ourselves to attract global investment or global partnership? You know, it starts from day one, because if you have it at the back of your mind, which is your why, it becomes easy for you to create a global company. So it starts when something is going to be good, it starts very early. They say when a child is going to be good, do well in school, you will see it from an early stage. Don't try to make, by the time you are in final year, it's already too late to make a first class. It's even already too late to make a 2-1 in final year. Which miracle are you going to do? So I tell people that are starting businesses, try as much as possible to start with that from the mind and from the mindset. When we say think, let it be that how, when you sit down with your co-founders or sit down with your mentors and say, guys, I want to build a global company. And so what kind of global services should I be offering? What is it that I need to begin to offer that will help me to achieve this thing that I want? And that is what is going to help you to be able to determine your why. So start early. So start early to think in that way. You know, I was reading something about these Paystack guys, and I was reading this morning that they are even not satisfied with what they have done. They're trying to see how they can push into the frontiers and push their frontiers into other African countries to become the #1 service provider in that area. And I'm wondering, and I'm saying that these guys must have thought about this from the very first day. They must have thought about this from the very first day, and say that, look, we must offer global solutions. And that is where we need to start with our businesses. Our why should not be only for Port Harcourt. Our why should not be only for Nigeria. Our why should not be only for Africa, but it should also be, our why should be all for something that will be global. Okay, so why will someone sell a business? Let's not even consider, why will someone sell a business? Like I said before, it's okay to sell a business. One doesn't have to insist on dying on what he or she has started. It doesn't have to be so. You don't have to, you know, I see a lot of buy hold in Nigeria, buy hold. I want to leave legacy, buy hold. And your children are not interested in that. It's just like people that go to build mansions and they go to their village and they go and build a 20-bedroom mansion in their village. Of what economic value do they have? And they have 2 kids. And those two kids are abroad and they have no intentions of coming back. I happened to be talking to a friend of mine in Calabar once when I was in Calabar, and he was trying to sell a property. And that property, you know, I think it was like a 15-bedroom bungalow, and this man has two kids. And these 2 kids are abroad. And somebody wanted to buy. He said, no, he can only lease. You know, they were going back and forth until the man said, okay, I'm going to lease it for 10 years. You know, I have to leave something for the children. I have to leave something for the children. So a funny thing happened. So the buyer now said, which is my friend was linking the buyer to this property owner, and the buyer now said to the man, why don't you call your kids and let them call your kids, let them have a say in this thing that you're telling me if they are interested. So they called, the man said, okay, they called and they put the kids on speaker. The man said, you see, you hear what my son will say, and he put the phone on speaker, And the man was asking him, some people came to buy our property. This is our heritage. This is our blah, blah, blah. And so what do you think? Do we sell? The first thing the son said was, sell, dad, sell, sell. I'm not coming back. I don't need it. Sell and take the money and enjoy yourself. I don't even need the money, or put it in a bank, invest it. There's no need for that. I'm not coming back to stay there. If I'm coming back, I'll stay in a hotel. Dad, please sell. You know, and that in itself is how we build businesses. I remember very early, I told my wife, I said, look, I will have businesses that my children might not run in future because they might not be interested in it. I think that if you come from my loins, the best thing that can happen to you is that you're a director or you're a trustee, but not necessarily be the MD if you don't want to. You must desire it. So I see a lot of buy, hold, and this thing is not making us grow as we should. You know, and we should be able to sell. I can work for 20 years at a company and I can decide to sell and maybe just tell them, give me 20% shares, I can sell. So let it be that legacy is what I leave, not the whole company. I can have 20% of a global company or a company that is doing well, and I can leave that for my kids than have 100% company that will fizzle out when I'm gone. So we must be able to think about selling. Let's leave all those traditional things that have held us down. I don't think the world is moving very fast. Partnerships are not working yet here in Nigeria, but I believe it will pick up within the next 3 to 5 years. It will really pick up because some partnerships are working. And I want to encourage us to have partnerships. Another day, another time, maybe during our monthly Think Make Grow, we'll talk about how partnerships can work. Partnerships actually can work. You know, if you put some things, there's a way to it that everybody is safe. Okay, in some cases, families may attempt to build a legacy, but beyond ambition, the businesses that strive is a business that strives is a business not driven by emotions. Business is not about emotions, you know, but about understanding what is expected of a business. Okay, so that we need to realize that we need to make this thing work. And for us to make this thing work, we need to try as much as possible to see that we build something and we're free, that anybody can come depending on what it is. You might even go into mergers and partnerships. These are the things that help companies grow. So I want us to have a free mind and see a free mind when we're handling businesses, because I think that is the future and it will help us. Building a business to stand, building a business, building a business to stand and make profit is not easy. Not to talk about building a business to sell. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it is worth our while. It will be worth your while. The common reasons people sell their businesses are why: owner retirement due to old age, health grounds. People can sell their companies on health grounds. Owners want to try something different. You know, today you might be building a business, but tomorrow you might say, look, I want out, I want to try something else, and I think this model should not die with me. Let me give it to somebody else. Owners have taken the business as far as they can, and say, look, I've done the best that I can. Maybe somebody else need to come and push it further. Owners have found something profitable to do, you know, apart from what they have been doing. Owners see a decline in profitability and they say, look, I think I've done enough. Instead of this thing to continue to decline, let me sell to someone, or let me partner with someone that will be able to revive this company again. Owners have put in their expectation. So their profit, the profit they have made is, they feel that is enough to sustain them. So maybe they need to move forward. And also maybe conditions of industry and policies that are not favorable to you, how you can run things. Is also possible to say, no, I don't think I can continue. Let me sell and let me give it to someone else. So I'll bring you back to the think, make, grow. Like I said, thinking, the why determines the direction that you take. The why is where everything starts. Every important thing starts with think. That's where we say think, make, and grow. Everything you ever do is to think. Do not be in a hurry to go into business without thinking. I tell people that business is not something you do because you are in between jobs. It will fail. Business is not something that you do because you don't have a job, or you were laid off, or some reason, or because you have always dreamt that you'll be a CEO of a big company, so you have to start a business and go out there. That's why 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. I will never stop saying this because I don't understand why you want to enter into a venture and you're not prepared for it. It's just like going to war, and you forget your bullets, but you have a gun. The same thing applies that you want to start a business and what? You don't go to a business school, or you don't go to some form of take courses or go to some seminars that will prepare you for it. You can't be a soldier without going to NDA or military school. Can't be a doctor without going to medical school. But people always feel they can go into business. I say, what is there? Is it not to import things from China? I enter markets now and I will sell it. Seriously? You just go just import things. A lot of people have done it. Invest 10 million, go buy something you like. When you are not the end user, you buy something that you like, you bring it to Nigeria, and you see that 2 years after, that thing is staring you in the face. There's nothing. It's because you are looking at business from the profit side. When all you want to do in business is all about the money, that business will fail within the next 5 years. It's not that I'm wishing you bad, but this is how you think. You go into business because you are solving a problem. You see a gap and you want to fill that gap. And that gap is, in filling that gap, the society rewards you for that gap that you're filling. Now I tell you to take it a notch higher. Not just fill a gap, but fill a gap globally. Not just for River State, not just for Nigeria. What can I do that not just Nigerians need, but also globally? But you can start small. I'm not saying that you need to go and take a loan. It starts, every vision is being implemented in phases. But have the end at the back of your mind whenever you want to do something. Let that be at the back of your mind, that I'm thinking about something that is global. When we want to talk about selling, at the end, you will see some companies and that have sold, even those in Nigeria, and that is profitable for them. So your why and your thinking is how do I solve this thing that people need? Okay, and how can I make a difference? It takes time. It takes time for you to observe. The greatest gift of an entrepreneur is the gift of observation. And what are you observing? You are observing to see the need, to see opportunities that are out there, that or to see problems that are out there that people are not seeing, or people see but they have no solution to. And so what that means is that if you can come up with a solution for it, then that is your license, that is your approval, that is what is your acceptance into the marketplace. If you're going to come and do exactly what we see in the market, then you are better go and work for somebody that is solving a problem. So we must, at every particular point in time, think about the future, think about where we're going. So this is the thing in our TMG model, because your why, the thinking is as a result. As a result of this thinking comes the why, which is the why is what you are producing. Is because of that thing there that you have noticed is what is going to lead you to begin to create for people. And that's where value is created. Why creates the purpose, which in turn enables us to find a pathway for building, for positioning, for priming, and for selling. It is the why. It is the why. What can be your why? Your why can be to create jobs, to turn a profit, to support personal goals, create lasting solutions, and to solve problems. You know, what is problem statement? Is a concise description of an issue that needs to be addressed or an issue that needs to be improved upon. So now, when you are thinking, as you are thinking, the why is coming out, the problem statement is coming out, and that problem statement, if you can solve it, that is where the value is. And if you are able to achieve that, if you are able to get that value, if you're able to observe, you'll be able to draw out and come up with a solution that people need, and that is where the value is. You are giving people what they need, and that is value right there looking at you. Then the make in the TMG model is now action. You're putting your thoughts into action. But before you start to produce, you have to connect. You have to connect with those people before you start to produce. And that is where you do your dry run. The dry run, more or less like you are doing a demo of your company that you have not started, and you can use this connecting with people to know who are the potential customers out there. How can you start a business? You use 10 million to buy something from China, and you believe that somebody is just going to buy it from you, that the market needs it. Business is not assumption. You don't need to assume that this will work. There has to be statistics. It has to be deliberate that this is needed. This is where, before you make, you have to connect. As you think and you're taking action, before you take action to creating things, that action first has to start with connecting with people, knowing what is needed in line with the global thinking and global trends. So now I want to offer this solution. I see this problem and I have a solution. This solution is rare. It has not been introduced. That becomes your market penetration strategy into the market to say that I have this. So now when you are talking about the value that you're going to bring. So because now when people are producing and they're asking for price and they want to get into price war, you can't win a price war with people that have been in that business for a long time. It's just like cement. You can't win that price war with Dangote. You can't win because he can do anything. They are the leaders of that industry. He can do anything with it. So you have to come up with a strategy that can help you. What is that strategy? Knowing exactly what people want and where those people are. Whatever you need to do, you must take out time to connect with the people, know who wants it. I was speaking at a conference recently, and one guy says from the riverine area, he wants to bring fish into Port Harcourt. Then I was asking him, what are the strategy? How will you penetrate? They sell fish. We're in Port Harcourt, we're in a riverine area. What is going to be your market penetration strategy? What is it? How do you know where the market is? He said hotels. I say, how many hotels? He mentioned the hotels. I said, it's not enough, because assuming you want an investor, the investor would want to know how many fish can we sell in a day, in a week, in a month, and how many can we sell in a year. If you go to a bank, and if you go to the bank, you want loan, these are the questions they're going to ask you. So hotels, who else? Restaurants, which restaurants? So I was trying to help him see that he needs to think big, bigger than what he was thinking. You need to realize that these things are there before you go into business. So the first phase now might be, okay, I told him that he has to move the product to market, speed, moving that product to market. His market is Port Harcourt, in the hotels and all the other places, hotels, restaurants, and the places that he says that he's going to deliver to. Okay, excellent. Now he starts to increase the customer base, and so that he becomes more profitable. That is the first phase. I said this thing is done in phases. Okay, now that you have gotten some form of funds coming in, you can now begin to say, how can I smoke this fish for export? There are a lot of Nigerian restaurants abroad, all over the world. So how can I begin to package it in a way that will pass NAFDAC here and pass every global global test for quality assurance, so that you can begin to export? Anything you export out of Nigeria, it's going to be in dollars, and we need to begin to create wealth in dollars, so that it can help. If these dollars are coming in, if you have 1 million people earning $1,000, $50, $500, 1 million people are having that opportunity, and each month or each quarter, 1 million people are doing this, our economy will bounce back. Dollar will drop. The dollar to naira is going to drop, because now dollar is coming in genuinely. Yeah, even if it's small, but it's coming in, and you see that the economy will become vibrant again. This is the phases that we use. I will tell you today, all of you listening to me, please, your business must be structured in a way, somehow you must earn in dollars. You must look at your business and see, how can I begin to, after the phase of stabilizing, don't say you had one man say, let's go and be doing international business when you have not stabilized. Stabilize the one you have, because you're going to use these funds here to now say, okay, on a small scale, start small. How can I begin to push out my materials? Like people, those of us in human capital development, now let's begin to, how will I begin to advertise, promote my materials, so that people abroad will be able to buy? At some point we had to think about it in the office, so that people everywhere will be able to buy my materials, like my courses. Before we wait for people, we will advertise courses, people will come to the secretariat here to do courses. But now we don't need to do that. The courses are already there on the website. All you just need to do is go and buy a course. The same thing happens with Coursera, Udemy, and all the rest. You don't have to go to UK to get a degree. You can do it right there in your room. So this is a way to earn. So people are buying my books from all over. This is having it in the back of your mind. But if you don't have that, you will not be able to service. Even if it's $20, $50, the more you are doing it, and you're earning $1,000, you are earning $1,000 a month. $1,000 is how much? 500 and something K. That is worth something here in this country. If you are earning that, then you can imagine that now you strategize to increase it to $2,000, 1 point something million. You retire early. You understand? So we need to position ourselves before you start to make. You need to know where and where you are going to make. Then you will make something that is not just, even if you start with the local market, but have your eyes on the international market. Then the third aspect is the grow aspect. Perfect. You grow by building systems that work. A business can only grow when processes are perfected in such a way that solutions are provided. Solutions provided can be replicated completely multiple times in diverse conditions. What am I saying here? Business is not permutation. Successful businesses are businesses that know how they became successful. It's not a fluke. Successful people know exactly what they did. Successful people know what they do, what makes them successful. And successful businesses are businesses that last because successful businesses are businesses. Successful businesses are businesses that last because they know how to repeat whatever they're doing. You know, like in sales, they will tell you sales is repeated order, repeated customers coming over and over. So now, if you're in sales and customers keep coming, so it means that you must be strong on customer relationship, customer care. But you need to know what you're doing to continue to do. You need to build systems that work. Systems that work in spite of you, the owner. The first mistake that entrepreneurs and owners make is that they build systems around themselves. So assuming now they fall sick, they fall ill, and they're in the hospital, things will be at a standstill. Or when you travel abroad, if you have 20 or if you have 50 employees and nothing can be done if you're not there, you are not a business owner, you are self-employed. If your system cannot work in spite of you, you are self-employed. Sorry. If your system cannot work in spite of you, then you are self-employed. Because you have not built a system that will survive. Even if you travel for 3 months, you have to build a system. It's called turnkey system, where a model that anybody that is taught that can just come and put the key and it works. If you remember many years ago when they used to have a turntable player, you just, that round turntable, that's how they play music before CDs came. You know, turntable, you play it, it keeps going on. So a musician can wax an album and he doesn't have to do live shows every day. All you just need to do is play his music and you get the effect. You get the benefit. That is exactly what it means by turnkey, having processes, having business systems that work in spite of you. If somebody is going to buy your business, buy into your business, or even admire your business, that business must be working in spite of you. I think a guy was giving me a story about someone that he met, an American business person that he met, and he said that they got talking, and the man made an inference. And he said, "Look, I have a Russian partner, and I have this Russian partner because we met at the airport." And they were talking, and he said, "Look, I've been away from my business for 6 months." And the Russian screamed and said, "You've been away from your business for," he said he's been in school, he did doing things, and that he hardly has time for the business. And so the Russian asked him, I said, how is your business doing better with you or not. He said, look, he stays away because his business does better than when he's out than when he's in. And he asked him why. He said, look, sometimes he gets in the way of the business because, first of all, he employed people that are smarter than him. He employed a lot of people that are smarter than him. So what he does is that let these professionals work. He just gives them a target and supervises and monitors them. He doesn't have to be there. If he's there, the profit begins to decline. But if he leaves, those people are doing better. So as soon as he explained this to the Russian said, yeah, I've been looking for an American partner and I think I found one. And he said, why? He said, because I want a business system that works. I'm looking for a business that works. I need to invest. And this is a Russian billionaire that is looking for where to ship his money out of Russia into a system, into another country, but it has to be something that is working. So a man that has a business, and that business is running in spite of him, I think that man that knows one or two things that you need to ask him. And that was what brought investment to this guy. And so when you understand this, see, as industry, every industry has its own trade secret. Every company has its own trade secret. Just like they talk about Coca-Cola and the concentrate that they give. Coca-Cola everywhere, apart from the headquarters, all they do actually, they are bottling companies because they don't understand what the concentrate is. So they're all bottling companies. So this is what I'm saying, a system that works. Now they can't be everywhere, but they can partner with people that will bottle and will do the finished work for Coca-Cola, and people begin, the end users are satisfied. That is a business system that works. And this is what people are looking for globally, that businesses that work in spite of the owners being there or not. So as you offer this solution, over and over again, it becomes easier for you, for the quality of your business, as you provide more solutions, rather, having ascertained what it is, what it takes to deliver value, because value is as a result of knowing how to have repeated successes. It is easier to increase quality of outcome based on your demand, and your available system is able to ensure quality control, and the promise of the brand is not compromised. So now you are scaling. You cannot scale your business without having a business that works in spite of you. Then also in the growth model is the model of promoting. You need to promote. They need to promote advertisement and all that, to promote what you do so that people will know exactly what you do. This is not a marketing. This is not a marketing presentation, but we all understand the importance of marketing your product. You need to market it if you want to grow. That is part of the step. After having systems, you need to promote it and blow your trumpet. Okay, now you want to sell. Now we've got to the point of I want to sell. We've talked about how to build your business to sell. So these are the things that you need to do, the mindset you need to have for you to be able to build your system to the level that it can attract foreign partnership and also attract foreign investors. And this is my prayer, and this is what I want to see more, and this is what I promote, and this is what we promote in making Nigeria, promoting, giving people opportunity, and promoting and giving them the opportunity for them, opening their eyes how they can scale their businesses, that in future they'll be able to sell. Build your business as if you're going to sell it next week, even from the idea stage. And I tell you, as things progress, you find out that you have a going concern that somebody is looking for. So now you want to sell, you need to do some certain things. You need to have some things right. One is your books. Get organized with your books. Ensure your financial, business financial records are in order. Your business must have good financial statement, projections, and key metrics for ascertaining and measuring the things that you are doing. You cannot doctor your books. The question of financial position takes into account outstanding liabilities, relative growth in sales and net income, number of customers, and relative size, market size, consistency, and alignment with your forward projections. There must be, if for you to be attractive, people need to see these things. Your books must be in order. Please do not doctor your books. I know some companies, they doctor their books. Your financials need to be in order so that they will know whether you are healthy or not. It is important for you to ascertain what value will be retained, transference of rights and staff. There has to be, for you to even talk about, selling your business, you must put a lot of things in order. You have staff, you must protect their rights, there has to be negotiations in that order before you can talk about selling your business. So you are not just selling your business and not mindful of what is going to happen to those people that you're leaving behind. When selling businesses, have a team of trusted advisors around you. It is crucial. Financial things, it is complex. You must have financial advisors. Don't go it alone. People that will advise you on what to do. Because it takes these financial advisors to even cost your business. I spoke to one. A lot contributes to what is the value of a business. I met one guy by mistake, not mistake, I met by chance. What he does is to value businesses. He worked for a company abroad. He still lives abroad, but he's a Nigerian, goes and comes. And when he started telling me how you cost a business, I was shaking my head. I said, God, help me so that I'll be able to understand what he's saying. Equity in a business is totally different from what we think. When we say equity, we're talking about the money. Because he asked me equity, and I say, yeah, the money you put into your own money that you put into business. He said, yes, but when you want to sell a business, you're looking at selling a business, is what they can offer you. You build equity. Equity, the value that you're building around your business. What becomes the business is not just the building, is not the facility, but the systems that are in place that emanate from the problems. Even the problems you are solving, there's a value to the problem that you're solving, and the way you solve that problem. All of these things are costed and they are quantified. They are first of all qualified and they are quantified, and say even brand influence. There's a cost into brand influence. There's social impact to cost. So an expert has to be there to be able to help you cost your business. Don't say that this is my business, I think it's 100 million naira, when your business might not be worth more than 100,000 naira. You might have cars, you might have staff, all those things. You might have a building, but that is not what they are looking for. The parameters they use to cost business, believe me, you'll be so shocked. And I told them, because I've always had this dream of making Nigeria, being a liaison between us and the developed world businesses there, of how we can connect, how we can boom businesses, build businesses here, and those businesses are built here in such a way that they can meet the test of universality. They can meet the global standards. And if they can meet that test, then it's easy for you to connect. So we need to understand how to cost our businesses. And making Nigeria, we are positioning ourselves in a way that we can help you build your business. This is what we call the Think, Make, Grow the Think Make Grow model in making Nigeria. So there's a way you need this expert to be able to value your business and to even give you pointers. We can help you in that to the extent that we can, but we have partners that we can partner with us to help you have a business, a viable business that can be attractive. It takes a lot. It takes a lot more than I can teach here, but it takes a lot. Okay, so there has to be goals and financial expectation. It's important that you are clear on the reason for selling your business and what you look to get from it. There can be different things. You have to ask yourself questions. Do I want to sell everything? Is the business the business to continue after I sell? Am I selling off compartments of the business? Can I handle being without a business in the next 5, 7, 10 years? How do I balance my finances? You know, you have to have a set goals before you talk about selling. There has to be a set goals. What are you selling? You know, I remember this, the guy, I think it's Turner, I think Ted Turner. I think I want to believe that is the guy that started CNN. And when he started and he said, everybody said they were going to read news for 24 hours. People were laughing at him. How is that possible? Why is that even possible? He did it and he sold CNN for billions and he still has shares. So you determine what you want. Okay, I want to sell, but I still want to have shares. So that's why I said I would rather someone approach me and tell me he's going to give me $500 million for any of my companies or any of my organizations and tells me that, okay, I'm going to have 20%. Fine, it's a good deal. That 20% is what I will enjoy and live for my kids. It's better they have 20% of a global company than they continue to have something they will come and work and try to also make it grow. So we must know exactly what we need. We must have an idea of what part of the business that we need. Then we also need to prime our business. You have to prime your business. Businesses prime your business for sale. Because once sales is anticipated, the query becomes, is it all well with the business? When you want to sell, people begin to look at, is all well? Because sometimes people want to sell and they realize that is all well. Does he want to sell because the business is dying or there's something wrong? This is when you put your best foot forward, ensure that all is accounted for, and start to detach yourself from business. If you want to sell your business, you need to detach yourself. Start to detach yourself from that business. You know, detach yourself, your responsibility, you start to downgrade them to give it to people so that your motion, because we are builders, visionaries, you have this attachment to any at all. If that thing becomes like your baby. It becomes like your baby. It becomes like your baby, you know. So you have to detach yourself. You have to detach yourself from it, you know, and see that you begin to prime your business in such a way that people, prying eyes, will come to see, is everything working? Is all well there? Okay, so I'll give you some little tips that you want to know. I will advise, don't go it on your own, but you need to know some certain things. Non-disclosure agreement. There must be a non-disclosure agreement when you are negotiating with people about your business. You must have an advisory team that will advise you, and also there must be a letter of intent, which is mostly non-binding, but there must be a letter of intent that is circulating between you guys. And time is of the essence. You don't wait too long in trying to negotiate these things. As long as you know exactly what you want, have a benchmark of these are the things we want, these are the things we need to achieve, then you have to move fast. Because when the talk is long after a while, people begin to back out. Okay, speak to your broker, your financial specialist must know about the outcome of your books. Your books must be checked in such a way that, because foreign companies, they're not going to go around, even if they go around your operational base, people can bring mercenaries as staff and bring machinery also and put there that people would think that everything is doing well. No, it's from the financial, from your records, people will know that your business, if your business is doing well or not. Okay, so let's now see some of the businesses that I will show you some of the businesses that sold, that were sold not because they wanted to sell, or they sold in because they were having issues, and at the end of the day they had to sell because they missed it somewhere, but at least they still got something from it. Let me give you an example. Businesses that have been bought in the last decade. Let's look at Blockbuster. In the US, Blockbuster media brand is a media brand, and at its peak in 2004 employed 60,000 people. At the top of the movie rental giant, it was worth $5 billion with over 9,000 local locations globally. As the world evolved to the era of video on demand, with blend of leadership changes and competition from Netflix, Redbox, and the likes, brought about the end of Blockbuster in 2010. It filed for bankruptcy with $1 billion in debt. The remaining assets of Blockbuster was acquired by Dish Network for about $320 million because they didn't move with the trends. So it is people that did not make that transition into now the digital world. They find a problem. I just thank God that by the leading of God and the Holy Spirit, we started online 2 years. And I kept telling the associates, I said, look, some of our trainings or some of our conferences, we had to change it to go online so that people will, so that we can have another form of audience online. And it helped us. So you can imagine businesses that didn't do it, like this Blockbuster, they went bankrupt because they didn't position themselves to that. So if you get to a point that you have built something worthwhile and you've come to a stage that I can't go any further, maybe you can consider selling as well. The same thing happened with Borders. Borders, I think their book, Borders are international book retailers. Their book retailers, they have headquarters in Michigan, in the US, and they did not move the same way. They did not move like Amazon did. They didn't move. Amazon moved and had Kindle. Barnes and Nobles moved, and they have no. They had now had an audience, an online audience, which Borders didn't have. And at the end of the day, they believed in buildings, they believed in shops, because they were everywhere. You could see them in outlet malls, in shopping plazas, at the airport. They didn't see the need for them to be able to take their business, online, and it cost them. They had to liquidate in 2011, and they were bought over by somebody else. But at least they turned over profit in sales, but not much. They've lost a lot, but at least they turned profit in sales. Now let's come home to Paystack, which we all know about Paystack. And I always use this Paystack because it's an encouragement, especially for the youth in fintech and the IT world. It's going to help. And this were two young men, Ezra Olubi and Shola Akinlade. These are two great guys that took advantage of the inefficiency of payment processing in Nigeria, and they've become one of the top preferred payment processing platform in transforming Nigerians' online payment markets. And what did they do? They joined Strip. Strip bought over Paystack, but a Paystack is still there and still have their identity. And the acquisition was over $200 million, which is like 76.6 billion naira of this type of acquisition. Why? Because they prepared, like I said at the beginning, they prepared themselves for this, to sell at some point, and is successful. There are other things, companies, Access Bank bought over Diamond Bank. I think bought over Diamond Bank in 2018. There was, and today it's a merger that has worked. There are a few of them that's happened in Nigeria, but I think there's more. I think we need to look into doing that more. And what can help us in doing that is this think, make, grow model. Keep thinking, keep making, and keep growing your businesses. You are not alone. People are watching you, and a day will come you will be rewarded for this. Okay, I've come to the end of my presentation, but I want to just leave this. I know that our moderators will reiterate it also, and that is the TMG model. All I've talked about is I'm pushing the TMG model, and with this TMG model, every month we're going to have this TMG conference where we continue to build on this think, make, and grow. So we will have at the end of October, we're going to have our first TMG forum, and I want to invite you all to that. And so we will take questions right now, and then we will close with some of our activities before we officially end Make in Nigeria 2021. So we will take the questions now. You can put out your questions on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Zoom. You can put out your questions, and I can just I can answer you as we move on.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much for that amazing. And yes, our Facebook audience, welcome. Yeah, but just drop them in the chat box. We're going to see them. Now, Dabo, you have a question here. Okay, since we're not, yeah, you can go ahead if you're quite environment. Go ahead.
Hello, can I go ahead?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I really learned a lot. I really learned a lot. But my question is this. And I want you to really break it down in a way that a nursery school scholar will be able to understand. How can one build systems and structures in place, that can outlast the person in business? How can one set up systems and structures in place that can outlast the fellow that has the business? Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think it was Jack that asked that question. Okay, Jack.
Yeah.
Systems. Yeah. What are systems? Systems basically are processes that run on their own without the owner necessarily interfering. Okay, let me just break it down. Now you're starting a company. So maybe you're starting a manufacturing company, and you are advised to start small. So when you start, you are the procurement manager, you are the HR manager, you are the general manager, you are the admin person, and you have a limited staff. I mean, that is what we expect you to have. You start your business. And you also the salesperson and the marketing person, even though you have people working with you. Now, in manufacturing, what are the key areas that you can look at? Let's say procurement, because if you're manufacturing, it means that you must be procuring this whatever materials that can help you at a cheap rate so that the cost of production can be down. So now it is your business. You are the one that will be sourcing for materials. It's just like you have a civil engineering outfit. At the start, you'll be the one that is ordering the sand, the stones, and all that. I don't expect you to give it to somebody and who is going to put his own commission, and that person gives it to another person, give it to put their own commission. So now you have a system of procurement, and you already know these people in the industry. Over time, you know, the thing that I've seen with successful businesses that they know, or successful people, is that they know who to call anytime there's a problem. So you now know the major dealers, the major importers of the raw materials that you need. So you attend their meetings, you belong to the association, you are known in that industry. So you are knowledgeable in how to procure materials that are needed for your manufacturing. So now you have learned it. So you can now bring someone, and as you're going through your rounds, you are teaching the person how to take over from you. Then you do the same thing with all the other departments and put key people within those departments. Where I work, the last place I worked, when they interview like 1,000 people, they select 5. And out of that five, they will select 3. And those 3 are the people that qualify for the job. It's just that they have to give it to one. So it means that and you know that there are 2 people that are waiting to take your job if you don't do well. So systems, and once you start to work, they give you a protege that will be working with you. So you are working, you are teaching. So the systems and the departments are departments that you learn on the job. Everything is done in the open. When we go for management meeting, all the departments are there. All the divisions are there. There were like 8 divisions. It's a big company, and all the divisions are here. And if one division is presenting, every other person is listening. So everybody in the company knows what is happening. There's some form of transparency, and people are given the opportunity and the room to be able to excel. So the system has been set up in such a way that everybody wants to perform. Everybody wants to be, they've been taught the job, and there's no vacuum. So you don't get upset if you want to leave. Somebody else knows the job and will continue to learn. That is systems. That is a system that you can go and live. A system that men are empowered and to feel to belong to the system. And you see some companies, they will give you shares. Some companies give you shares in the company. Some companies give you certain things that make you feel like they belong to the system. So they don't look like foreigners or alien to the system. No. So these are systems that work, that everybody knows what to do, and the system can go on holiday. Like I said, Jack, if you cannot go 3 months holiday at a stretch, I don't care if you employ 100 people, you are still self-employed. You can't say that you're a business owner because you have not built systems that run on their own. So try to build systems that run on their own. Keep your financials intact. Let there be proper bookkeeping. So somebody, the day you want to get a loan, if the day you want to get a loan, the banks can come and look at your books and look at your systems, and they say, yeah, I think that this person knows what they are doing. Yeah, I can't go into all the details, but I've given you an idea in such a way that you know that systems are people in units and departments that are working seamlessly, as if each department is working seamlessly and for the benefit of the whole. So you must try to build and put square peg in square holes so that they function very well and everything is working well, whether you are there or not. Remember the story I gave. This man, 6 months, he has not been in the office, and the office is working well. He says that when he comes, it's even a hindrance to them, so he stays away. That is a system that works. All right, thank you. I hope I've helped you there. Any other questions?
Sir, thank you. Thank you so much. So if you have questions now, where just type in the chat box question. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If there are no questions, that would be good for our Q&A session. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. We appreciate your, dexterous delivery of this entire subject, system and TMG model as well. And yes, the TMG program is starting right about now. Daniel, there's the WhatsApp group, there's the Beacon and your WhatsApp group, right? And if you register to attend meetings, you need to check your emails. Your emails and the WhatsApp group that you should be a part of. Yes, so you need to join that community real quick. We're going to keep you posted. I'm guessing that there's actually a job that we're sharing here for everyone that gets to this community in the next 72 hours. You should try to get there, be a part of the community next episode so that we all get to. We're not giving it out afterwards. So be sure to join the community now. Our updates, Uche Onochie has events every Monday. There is the marketplace on Mondays. There is what's money Wednesday. So these are platforms and forums to get mentorship, learn about business, join communities that will help you to build your business, help you thrive. You want to be a part of this community because one of the important parts of business that will thrive is community. For you to thrive as a going concern right now, you can't see all the strength that you can draw from for the communities. And just before I finish that off, we have to here. I'm just going to talk a bit about Africa.
If you have friends from South Africa, you attended the conference from the one, you definitely know Junior. And so we're going to welcome Junior and them. And you can go ahead in the shortest possible time to give us a heads up how make Africa in maybe 120 seconds. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like yes, here. So what issue or something. Okay, so aside that, so just click the link in your email, join the community, and we'll give you all information afterwards, freebies, and let you into how this is going. And yes, we have selected qualifiers for the grant. You participated and you qualified, you will get an email, okay? You get an email asking you to come for a pitch. Yeah, and if you have a
people here, you have a less than person. That means that you're automatically qualified to be for a $1,500 grant. And yes, it's the evening of the third day of Making Nigeria Exhibition and Conference, and it's been such an amazing journey so far. We've had amazing speakers, panel sessions, talk shows, morning and evening the last couple of days, and it's been mind blowing. I'm sure that you learned stuff, and yes, your business can be taken to the next step now. And it doesn't start here; it starts when you get out to do the work. It starts when you change the way you decide, the way tomorrow, or from Monday, or whatever else you are working. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks to our Facebook audience, our Instagram audience, our YouTube audience, and wherever you're streaming from in every part of the world. We're super excited to have you conference with us this year. And yes, we hope to see you in the next edition of the Mission Education and Conference. And interact with you very often. Before then, hopefully, if you join the community and the TMG forum. All right, guys. Cheers and have a great night. Thank you. And that's it from us today.
Contribute our quota, little drops of water makes us greater. No matter how far we've gone, we can get better. Harnessing our wealth, one business at a time. The power is ours, no one else's, we recognize it. That's why we in this conference and exhibition to ignite change, think, make and grow Nigeria. That's our call to greatness, so compatriot. When we all contribute our quota, little drops of water makes us greater. No matter how far we've gone, we can get better. Harnessing our wealth, one business at a time. The power is ours, no one else's, we recognize it. That's why we in this conference